Okay, hello matrix. Welcome to another lesson with me. Today we will be doing the poem called The Hanswors. Okay, the clown by S.J. Pretorius. Okay, first stanza. Oor sy afsigtelike boegel en kromheid het haal hom gekoggel. In bitterde was halve nine. As sy vergooide regat pyn. Because of his hideous hunchback and crookedness, they mocked him, and more bitter was their malice than his pain from his crooked spine. Second stanza. Tussen die deure in 'n hoek het hy die eensaamheid gesoek. Met klere wat gedeure gaar is. Wat doen die vent met sy salaries? Sorry. Among the animals in a cage, he looked for solitude with clothes that are always torn. What does the wretch do with his salary? Okay. Hy het maandeliks by die poskantoor 'n brief gepos of een gelees by die deurkrate oor en oor. Sou daar tog ergens iemand wees? He's at the post office monthly, posting a letter or reading one. At the animal cages over and over. Could there be someone, somewhere? Okay, a fourth stanza. En daardie ewige ryk en drank, nie een so hel as hy bedank. Maar waar hy in die sirkus tent, apagtig teen die firmament, hoog teen die takelwerk, kon kloute die dood uitdaad, en klein kaboeter, sy duivelstreke uithaal onder, dat almal skatter vir die wonder, is hy hoeseer verlate, nog deur die baas beskou as bate. Okay? So, and that eternal smell of drink, no one would cry if he resigns. But when he's in the circus tent, ape-like against the firmament, high up against the ridging cold climb, taunts death, and little goblin carry out his devilish tricks below, so that everyone laughed at the wonder. He, much as he was despised, forsaken, still considered an asset by the boss. Toe het 'n brief gekom eendag, hy het oor die bed gepak, verblind, terwyl 'n begel vroukie sag, strywende fluister, dankie my kind. Then a letter came one day, he bent over the bed, blinded, while the hunchback woman softly dying whisper, thank you my child. Okay, let us delve a little bit into the background. So this is a narrative poem that tells us the story of a clown with a hunchback. Okay, he was disformed, or in other words, disabled, and people would always laugh at him, okay? Because of his disability or deformity, he was used as a clown in a circus, okay? Cool. Although he was paid for doing this job, for his participation, he was mocked at a lot, okay? Getting paid for a certain job is one thing, but being laughed at at because of a disability or whatever, it's something else, okay? Cool. So, it left him with emotional scars. He was hurt, because everyone has feelings, no matter the disability, no matter the deformity, everyone has feeling. Everybody is human at the end of the day. No matter how hard we pretend we are, we all do feel something, okay? Cool. Let us look at the title. Okay, so if you don't know what a clown looks like, this is how a clown looks like. Let us look at the title. So it says here, as 'n mens die titel lees, dink 'n mens die gedig gaan snaaks of komeesfees, maar dit is Okay, let us look at the title. As 'n mens die titel lees, dink 'n mens die gedig gaan snaaks of komeesfees, maar dit is treurige gedig. Okay? So when we're reading the title, clown, we all think it's going to be funny, something to giggle or laugh about, something very funny, like comedic. But actually, this is a sad poem, okay? Dit is 'n treurige gedig, okay? So it says here, die funksie van 'n Hanswors in die sirkus is om die toekouers te laat lag met die snaakse ding oor torkies wat hy doen. Okay, so the function of a clown in the circus is to make the audience laugh with funny things or tricks that he does, okay? Hanswors is die gaapmakers in 'n sirkus, maar hulle is dikwels bejammeringswaardige figure. Okay, so clowns are usually jokers in a circus, but they're often pitiful figures. Okay, it says here, die Hanswors in hierdie gedig laat die mense lag, maar ons lees dat hy eintlik 'n tragiese mens is met 'n hartseer geskiedenis. Okay, so in this poem, the clown is someone who makes people laugh, but then we eventually read that he's actually a tragic person with a very sad story. Okay, the article, die bepaalde lidwoord, okay, that particular article, verwys na 'n spesifieke Hanswors. So it's referring to a very specific Hanswors in this instance, okay? Alright, so let us look at syntuigliche waarneming, okay? We are looking at synesthesia. Synesthesia, we all know what it is. It is basically when the artist uses senses in his poem, like sense. You guys know the 5 senses: touch, hear, feel, taste, and see. I think that's 5. Okay, so it says here, die Hanswors in sy omstandighede word visueel aan ons beskryf. Okay, so the clown in his circumstances are being described to us visually, okay? Ons sien hoe die Hanswors lyk en wat hy doen, okay? We see how the clown looks like and what he does, okay? That is the sense of sight, okay? Sig, sintuig, okay? Sight. Okay, ons hoor ook hoe sy kollegas van hom skinder en hom taat in die toeskouers vir hom lag, okay? So we see how his colleagues gossip about him and like mocks him and all that, and how the audience also laugh at him, okay? So the sense that we're dealing with is gehoor, okay? And we see that he drinks. Remember this, they tell us die ewige reuk van dronk, okay? The smell of eternal drunk, okay? We can smell the drink, okay? That is reuksintuig, okay? So in this poem, synesthesia is used. Cool. Let us look at the typography of the poem. Okay, it says here die gedig het 5 strofes. Okay, the poem has 5 stanzas, a 26 versreel. Okay, 26 lines consisting of 4 quatrains and 1 stanza with 10 lines. Okay, and in this poem we see a lot of contrast. Okay, it says here, opvallend is die contrast tussen die Hanswors se werk wat mens moet vermaak of amuseer en sy hartseer lewe daar buite as 'n eensame man wat met 'n gebrek lewe. Okay, so the contrast between the clown's work or like entertaining or amusing others and his sad life outside. Okay, outside he's lonely, he's alone and all that, you know. So this is basically people's mockery versus his physical pain. Okay, and also, you know, like for example, this thing that goes around the class clown is, you know, is someone who actually has emotions, like you see him smiling all the time, but maybe when he goes home he's sad and all that, you know. So that's also a contrast because we're moving from one atmosphere to the other. Okay, you make us laugh and all that, but you actually have a sad life, so, you know, something like that. So, it says hier die mense se gespot, okay, emosionele pyn teenoor die Hanswors se verseëse pyn van sy boegelrug. Okay, so the people's mockery against his physical pain, okay, from his hunchback, okay, boegelrug. Alright, cool. Okay, we see here in the second bullet point, misvormigheid. Okay, the deformity is his hunchback, sy boegelrug, against the nood sy behendigheid of raadheid in die circus tent. Okay, so it's his deformity against his agility / ability in the circus tent, because when you're reading the poem, they talks about how he could climb, jump and do all those things. Okay, cool. It says here, die diere aanvaar hom, maar nie mense nie. Okay, so the animals accepting but not people. Okay, how sad, you're being accepted by animals rather than your own people. Okay, it says here, hy word gehaat en vermy, maar is 'n aanwinst vir die circus. Okay, so he's hated and avoided, but he's an asset to the circus, guys, because he makes people laugh, he makes them jump, you know, he entertains people. So as far as he's hated and all that, we need him because he's an asset to the circus. Okay, let us look at the rhyme scheme in this poem. In the first, second, and fourth stanza, there is spa rhyme. Okay, and in the third and fifth stanza, there's cross rhyme. Okay, cross rhyme. Okay, in the third and fifth stanza, it is when his personal circumstances are described, and in the first, second, and fourth stanza, it is where it shows the clown's working conditions. Okay, cool. And punctuation marks. Okay, when we were reading the poem, we did come across, you know, certain punctuation marks, like for example quotation marks. What does this rich do with his salary? Or, oh, there's actually someone out there, you know, it was in quotation marks. Okay, and quotation marks indicates direct speech. Okay, directe rede. Okay, so the direct speech was coming from his colleagues. Okay, so it says here, belangrike sake word uitgegeef deur die gebruik van die dubbelpunt, ellips, skommers en die direkte rede. Direkte rede word nie gebruik vir beklemtoning nie, maar ook om variasie te bring. Okay, so direct speech is not only used for emphasis but also for variation. Okay, cool. Let us look at the mood or the atmosphere. Okay, it is weemoedig, that's melancholic. We all know what melancholic is. It's another word for saying, it's a deeper word for saying sad. Okay, and we have hartseer, okay, sad, and we have zwaarmoedig, that is depressed. Okay, very depressing tone / mood. Let us look at the theme. Okay, die thema, it says hier, die ongelukkigheid van 'n mens met gebreke of wat misvorm is as gevolg van die onmenselijkheid en onsensitiviteit van die mense om hom. Okay, so it talks about the unhappiness of a person with defects or deformity due to inhumanity and insensitivity of the people around him, because, you know, a lot of the times we look at people with disabilities and we don't think that they're human like us. You know, we take them, well, not we, but some people take them as weird people. You know, they don't look human enough to be accepted, but that's wrong, because we're all born differently and we cannot change the way we were born. We just have to live with it and put a smile on our face. Okay, it says here, die lyding van 'n mens met 'n gebrek. Okay, the suffering of a person with a disability. Okay, disability, the form, same thing. Okay, or we can say veroordeel teenoor mense met gebreke. Okay, prejudice against people with disabilities. Okay, cool. Let us look at the message of the poem, die boodskap. Okay, it says hier, die gedig wys vinnig na ons almal wat lag vir misvormde mense wat as Hanswors in sirkusse gebruik word. Okay, so the message talks about, but it actually points fingers at all of us who laugh at people with deformities who are used as clowns in circus. Okay, cool. And it says here, ons moet nie neerkyk op mense wat anders of misvorm is of wat gebreke het nie. Okay, so we shouldn't look down on people who look different or are deformed or have different disabilities. Okay, it says here, ons moet aanhou dat mense met gebreke dieselfde emosie en swaak kry verdeur as mense sonder gestremdhede en verdeur nie ongespot of verneder te word nie. Okay, so we must remember that people with disabilities endure the same emotion, guys. They feel the same thing as us, emotions and hardship as people without disabilities, and they do not deserve to be ridiculed. Okay, we can't ridicule them. Okay, we can't humiliate them. Okay, the type of speaker that we have, that is a derde persoon spreker. Okay, third person, or we can say alomteenwoordige spreker. Okay, omnipresent speaker. An omnipresent speaker is a third source. You know, you weren't there but you heard. Okay. It says here, die spreker is objectief. Okay, this type of speaker is objective. Hy gee die Hanswors en die ander circus mense se woorde en gedagtes weer. Okay, so he reflects the words and thoughts of the clown and the other people in the circus. Great. Now,